Welcome to OCBC Open Call Workshop. My name is Yoon Mi, and I'm from the Sustainable Finance Group in OCBC. Sustainability topics are gaining importance, and companies in many sectors are embedding sustainability in the way they do business. Some companies are doing more by redefining sustainability standards that works for them and for the entire industry. Today, I'm here with Benjamin French from Czarnikow, who has been in the front line of this development. Hi, Ben. Thank you for joining me today. So you are a senior trader of Czarnikow and head of Asian development for the VIVE Program.
Correct.
For our audience today, can you briefly introduce Czarnikow?
Yeah, well, thank you, Yoon Mi, for the introduction and for welcoming us here. Czarnikow is a global supply chain service and trading company. We are particularly active in sugar trades historically, and we are responsible for about 10% of the global trade of sugar. We also work in other commodities as well, agricultural commodities and food ingredients.
So I understand that the sugar industry has its own environmental and social challenges. So as a leader like you, how do you address them?
The sugarcane industry and sugar beet industry do have their own challenges. And I think with an increased focus placed on environmental protection in recent years, particularly on the fight against climate change, sustainability has become an incredibly pertinent factor to consider in business, especially within the food and beverage supply chains. Czarnikow, as we mentioned, is a supply chain service and trading company, predominantly in the food sector. So our purpose is to exert a positive economic and sustainable influence on our food, beverage and energy supply chains.
So it's great to hear that Czarnikow is starting its own sustainability program. So that's the VIVE program, isn't it? Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the VIVE program was launched about 5 years ago in 2015. Just to explain a bit more about the actual program, the VIVE program is a voluntary sustainability program designed for all the players in the supply chain to continuously improve their sustainable practice whilst importantly gaining commercial advantage.
I remember reading your assessment tool. It was really comprehensive and rigorous. And it was really helping the participants to understand where they are and what they have to do more in the future. So it's been 5 years now, right, since the launch?
Yeah.
So how is it going? Do you see more demand, interest from the suppliers or the buyers?
Yeah, so we've seen a huge amount of growth in the last 5 years. Although there were other programs available, we saw there was an opportunity to create a program that not only delivered on the sustainability of the supply chain, but also, which is a really big challenge, create a commercial advantage for those participants. It's always a big question in sustainability, who's going to pay for it and how much does it cost? And that's what we've tried to address, while also keeping a very robust and comprehensive focus on sustainability.
Lovely. I mean, I really agree with you that a sustainability program has to make a commercial sense for its own sustainability. Yes, it's not easy to always claim a premium for a sustainability source sugar. And it's true that there is an initial cost or investment. So how do you go about it?
I think the answer to how do we avoid the premium, it's by incorporating everyone in the supply chain into this sort of the program and creating the understanding that long-term investments in sustainability are actually commercially rewarding, and you don't necessarily have to extract that fee on day one.
That sounds really exciting. Really looking forward to see more participants joining in the program. So to make it happen, what would be the most effective enablers for you?
I think the first enabler, which sounds maybe quite simple, is creating a mutual understanding across the supply chain of the benefits of a sustainable business, as the program is based on the belief that the sustainability of a product cannot really be adequately assessed or controlled unless the whole supply chain is considered holistically. A second enabler is, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's making sustainability commercially viable. To achieve widespread participation, it must be economical in the long term, and therefore financial institutions such as OCBC and governments are so important when it comes to generating sustainable supply chains.
So is there anything innovative that you've done recently around this sustainability program?
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge amount that we're doing. It's a very busy time and a very exciting time for the business. But to maybe focus on one, we recently completed our first fully verified sustainable trade of raw sugar, which was about 50,000 metric tons, which we shipped from Brazil to Malaysia. The full supply chain was verified under the Vive Program. Mm-hmm. This supply chain is unique in itself, but what made it really interesting is that it was supported by OCBC with a sustainability-linked loan facility. This helped to further justify the long-term investment in sustainability for several of the stakeholders in that supply chain, and it converted it from being a sustainable trade to a sustainable and commercially viable transaction.
Right. We were very glad to support Czarnikow and the VIVE program through the sustainable finance transactions.
Thank you.
And for those who are not familiar with the sustainability-linked facility, they are either a loan or trade finance in this case, where companies' interest rate margin is linked to their sustainability achievement. It is a product designed to incentivize more responsible actions from the companies. So in our case, we use the participation in the VIVE program as a sustainability benchmark. From the bank's perspective, having a third-party assessment program such as VIVE was really helpful because we can design a credible products using them as well. So we really want to see more about it in the market. Last question for you finally. What would be your advice for your peers on sustainability?
So the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has changed a lot of perspective, but it's reinforced our principle that sustainable production and supply chains are critical to food security, mm-hmm. To business resilience, transparency, and environmental and social responsibility. It's therefore imperative that a sustainable development is built into the foundations of businesses as we gradually emerge from the pandemic. So I think we'll only see an increase in demand for sustainable production, and I do think we'll see tighter regulations by governments, which will lead to much of the sustainable production standards becoming mandatory. And the other part is, businesses will have the opportunity to unlock or open the door to innovative new ways of financing their business by entering into sustainability, such as the OCBC sustainability-linked loan facility.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben, for sharing your insights today. Thank you for joining the OCBC Open Workshop.